This is serious.
Okay,
Are we good?
Are we ready?
Okay, we're good.
All right, welcome to the Gunter City Council regular meeting, Thursday, March 6th. It is 5:07 p.m. We, all notices have been properly posted. We do have a quorum with everybody in attendance, and we will start with our invocation and our pledge allegiance. All right, Adam, do you like to lead?
Sure. Heavenly Father, gracious Lord, we thank you for your bountiful blessings, Lord, and we are thankful for the protection you offered locally and abroad, Lord, for those storms, Lord, that could have gone much worse, Lord. So thank you for protecting the people here and elsewhere, Lord. Thank you for all the first responders that assisted people during the storms and that there were no injuries. We thank you for the blessings you've given this nation, Lord. We pray tonight for wisdom, knowledge, grace, and mercy in all things. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Okay, we'll start with agenda item number 1, Mayor and Alderman report, general notifications. I really don't have anything other than I would say everybody wants to know about the burn house. Do we have any information since we last talked, Deidre?
No, he did receive his letter because
Okay.
I actually got the return certified today.
Okay, perfect. And so really that's all we know.
What
We've
about-
got to wait.
Are you going to
Yes.
do they met with Republic?
Oh, I did meet with Republic, and actually Adam put together the RFQ after he met with me with Cheryl with Republic. So they understand that we are putting out, we're going through that bidding process. We put out the RFQ and we'll see what, how everybody responds. But it did help quite a bit meeting with her just to kind of be able to add some things in that we hadn't thought about, which
Scholarships, stuff like
to
that.
make sure that, scholarships, things like that, that maybe they could throw into the mix, but that way we can compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. So we did do that. The burn house, we're still working on the internet, fiber optics. I don't really have any new news update, usually maybe the third Thursday.
And we're making arrangements to pick up the
To pick up the
Freightliner
Freightliner.
here pretty soon
Yeah.
this month.
Yes,
So
Yeah, we're throwing in the towel
The
on
truck?
other options. We're just gonna go get
we just
the
gotta
damn
go
thing.
get it here, yeah.
Both of them.
but we're only coming back with the truck. They're gonna
We gotta-
transport the camper over to
Over to
garage.
the, yes.
It's only 32
We're
miles.
transporting the camper over to
The
God's.
camper still hadn't been
Garage,
delivered
and
to
then-
God's garage, so we gotta
And
do
then
that.
we're gonna pray we get back. If not, come pick us up the buckets.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, exactly. Do y'all have any other,
I have one thing.
is it, yes, how's it going?
So this morning I attended the county emergency meeting that they have every month.
Okay.
And Burlington Northern was presenting.
Okay,
They gave a bunch of safety tips. Most of them were more about carrier safety tips, but one of them was for the general public.
Okay.
If you ever have an issue with anything near a crossing, every crossing apparently has a crossing number and a phone number on it. There's a
It does.
Department of
That's
Transportation
right.
number for each crossing. And in addition to that, there's an application you can get on your phone called Rail Crossing Locator. And Burlington Northern and Union Pacific too, they all, either, it doesn't matter which rail, they want to hear from you if there's something going on at the rails. And that is how you do it. If you're at the cross, you find that DOT number, there's an 800 number on there you can call,
Yeah.
or you can get that Rail Crossing Locator app. And since we have so many rails here, people are likely to interact with them more often than
Sure.
some places, right? So that's,
Yeah.
I think that's useful information for everybody.
that is. That's really good. On that note, the mayor's had, in Grayson County, we had our annual state mandated emergency management training on a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks ago. William stopped in.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Our commissioners stopped in to say hi. It was with Judge Dawsey, and the good news is that we've got such a great, countywide, we've got such a good team with our commissioners, court, and all of our mayors. And the mayors are gonna start meeting at least every other month to kind of focus on how we can help each other countywide, help each other with problems and solve things together. So I think that's a really good step in the right direction. So I'm glad you brought that up because I'd forgotten about that.
And Mayor, I don't know if any of you were on the TML legislative update call today.
I didn't make it.
I missed it.
Okay,
I had it on
So-
the calendar, but I didn't make it.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping,
so-
I did too, I'm hoping that they record, it's one of those recorded they'll send to us too, because I missed
I don't know about
it.
that.
Okay,
And it's not on our agenda tonight, but at our next meeting, if you
Talk
would
about
like
updates.
me to summarize some of the bills that will affect
yes.
cities, I'll be happy to do that.
I would love for you to do that, I'll put it on the third Thursday. Okay. We had a ribbon cutting today for New Fence. That was fun, that was nice, I'm excited that they're here, and they were very, 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 very appreciative to our city staff, our team. It's been almost exactly a year that they came in the doors and started this process, and it was incredibly painful because of our water situation. But they're in, they're up and running, and it was a really good ribbon cutting. And Cindy was there, and Wade came by, and the burgers were good.
They had burgers and chicken, and they had a drawing for
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars in gift cards
They sure did.
and all kinds of stuff. And Carol Knox won about 20-pound bucket of nails.
Oh, no. That's funny.
I think they ended up sending her a gift card instead.
Yeah, yeah. They're such great people though, so I think that'll be good for Gunter, for sure. That's all I have. If you all have anything else? All right. Eric is not here tonight. His wife had minor surgery. He is taking care of her. So I told him not to come. I was like, take care of your girl. You're good. He didn't have a whole lot really to report on other than what's in the agenda, and I can kind of answer your questions there. So we're hoping that Sherry heals fast. For number 3, Director of Parks and Public Services, Adam, you've got a pretty long report, lots going on, so I'll let you go ahead and hop up and
All right.
tackle that.
The first one is Gunter ISD. That is on your agenda later. Just to let you know, it's back to an MDD. I suspected. I think I told the mayor or Dietrich, I can't remember who. I was like, I think an MDD is different. I don't think it'll work the same way. And so we reached out to the Victoria, and she's like, that's right. You can't. MDD doesn't work the same way.
Right.
It's doesn't eminent domain. Doesn't have that power. So we went back and forth. This has been a long process. I mean, I'm glad it's due tonight. Hopefully that the EDC MDD can finish their end of it. But just know that I think we're in the last stretch of that. So assuming
Is
council.
this finalized? I mean,
It's so the stuff on tonight is to finalize the council's portion. I think it's gone back. This may be the 3rd, if not the 4th iteration.
Right. Now the MDD.
So it will be the city. I don't want to jump ahead on that item. It'll be the city that does end up owning it.
Right.
And the MDD will be the financing mechanism. Sort of how we started at the very beginning with the EDC.
Right.
And then the EDC decided they wanted to own, and so back and forth it went. But this should be the final iteration following the MDD meeting, whenever that occurs.
Yes,
I
the
know it's on the
EDC and the
19th.
MDD are going to do a joint meeting.
Wednesday, the
the
19th.
19th.
Is that the 19th Wednesday?
How did the
I believe that's
EDC and the
what it
MDD have a joint meeting?
I'll bring
It's the same
yours.
people.
It still has to be joint.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to have 2 agendas and post both agendas and open and close both meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like us, the Board of Adjustments.
Yeah.
That's us.
Right.
So,
When you meet as the Board of Adjustments, we
Right.
have to have 2 agendas.
Got it.
So the EDC
It is. It's
still
Wednesday
in
the 19th.
existence? We haven't shut it down yet?
The EDC has to stay in
Yeah.
existence until its business is resolved. It's
All
like
at
any
once.
other corporation, it's gotta do its winding up.
Okay.
So,
they have those loans, 2 of them. One was paid off.
Yes.
So 2 left. And as long as those are open, they won't do any new business, but as long as those were open, they still have to exist.
and they don't collect any tax
Exactly,
anymore,
because it's
but,
going to the MDD.
but they have to stay alive as long as they're collecting
Yeah.
loan payments and then disperse their assets.
So their meeting will be on Wednesday the
be.
19th.
So who negotiated that
Okay.
price?
Negotiated it. I took it to them. I wasn't on the negotiating. We talked to developers and John Carter to get a price range. and I just relayed that information to the
Because
EDC.
there's a huge discrepancy between what the CAD says it's worth and what we're paying.
Right, and that is they recognize that too, but that wasn't the market rate, what was on the tax assessment rate from Grayson County. So that's just what I took then.
Hang on, why would the market rate even be involved in the discussion? I mean, this is taxpayer money that bought it and taxpayer money that's gonna shift it off of one set of books onto another. Why would market price come into it?
I can only go with what I was though, because the school otherwise was selling it not to the city, they were selling it to
Well,
developers.
but the school is.
Well, they're just like us. We cannot accept less than market value for something we sell. Neither can a school district. They have to get market
Well, but that
value.
doesn't apply to an intergovernmental transfer. We're just moving it off of one set of books onto another. They shouldn't be trying to make a profit on it when it's taxpayer money. It's gonna make taxpayers pay twice.
But we're two totally different
But it's the
entities.
same taxpayers.
All I can say is they weren't gonna do that at first. They
There's
weren't
gonna
gonna
be a
offer it to
sealed-
the city, they were just doing sealed bids.
They were gonna do sealed
We are the
bids.
ones that approached
Yeah.
them for the property.
But who approved the rate or the price that I don't remember
The
that
EDC?
coming up.
EDC.
EDC
said-
did,
It's their money.
Okay,
yeah, they did.
but now we're paying it.
And the
No,
city
no, no, no.
council had to
MDD.
agree to.
EDC is, that money will be transferred to the MDD, and the MDD is going to fund it, they just can't buy it. So they will fund it
One of
for
the
us
rules
to buy
they
now.
already do.
Because the EDC could have bought it, and that was kind of what they wanted to do, was hold it in there. They wanted to own it, per se. So, but then, of course, now, we can't let them do new business because the MDD, everything has to move that direction. So the money will be funded to the MDD, right? It'll be taken from there and into the MDD, but the MDD can't buy property. They will have to fund it to us, and we buy it from the school.
So we are buying it.
We are buying it, the city is buying it, the
We're using
MDD
their
will
money.
fund it. We're using their money that they.
They're giving us money.
I just know there's a lot of questions as to why that price is what it is and how we got there. So if there's documentation on how we got to that price, it would behoove us to make sure that's public, because right now it doesn't pass the smell test for a lot of people.
If it's market rate.
I don't know
Well,
if it's
can we-
market rate or not. I've not seen anything that says it is market rate.
Can, Courtney, can you help me with that? I know Eric had some information on it as well, and
I believe there was an appraisal
there
that was
an
done of the
appraisal.
property,
Yes.
and that's
So-
where the price
That's
came
where it came
from.
from.
So, didn't the city council, because EDC takes action, but city council has to approve
We did approve
EDC
it.
actions.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
you've already approved this purchase at that price.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still think we need to show our hand on how we got there.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you can help me, I'll gather the data, if you help me, and we'll put out a news release. I wanna make sure that I'm speaking correctly, because I wasn't that involved in the process. So I wanna make sure if I can gather it, then you and I can do a news release.
Yep.
Because, no, I think that needs to be explained. I agree. Okay, so we were on,
Grayson County, precinct 3 and 1,
okay, so next, all right,
if you move past that.
okay.
Grayson County precinct number 3. So things are going well with Commissioner Wright. One of the areas, just real quick, there's no action tonight, obviously, but when you look at Gunter, you have a northwest, southwest, northeast, and southeast corners of our city, sort of like edge developments. Well, the one that traditionally and fire has done several pullouts of people over there is the northwest corner of the town, which is Hunter, Kimberlin Road, McDonald, and Blaine. I'm wrong, it's 4 roads. I told you 5 minutes, 4. And so those roads are questionably navigable. I rode it with the fire chief the other day just to get his look at that. And what they're advising is that those roads to be restored, because the county quit doing maintenance with us back when Commissioner
James shut it down in December of last year,
yeah,
a
so
year ago.
to raise the roads up, the quote I have appears to be it's from the county, but they are willing to do it. It's $105,000 to do it.
So we need to put that on an agenda upcoming.
It just needs to be a discussion item. Maybe
Yeah.
council might want to look at it. And,
To discuss.
but if it's restored, then it would be such that it would only need to be graded like twice a year once it was restored. Because right now there's almost no road base left of those roads. The only other road I can think of in the city that might be as bad or worse would be Old Skaggs Road. If you've driven down Skaggs, you probably didn't go all the way across it. But that road is will be handled potentially by future development, hopefully in the near future. That would be affected if that quadrant down there off of County Road is developed.
How many folks in the city live on this county road that we're gonna?
Not a lot. It's a travel road. There's not a lot of residents that live there. It is mostly agricultural.
No, the 105 is from 4 different streets.
Still, it is mostly agricultural. Absolutely, it is. There are residents that live there because it's our city limits, but it is mostly agricultural out there.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to see is us prioritize based on population. I mean, if there's 2 people that live down the road, you know what I'm saying? When we've got, and we need the county's help, I'm assuming we've got other county roads that could probably use
We
more
definitely
love.
need the county's help.
Wall
So
Street.
we do, when we put this on, we're gonna go over all of them because we do have a list of all the streets that we are responsible for. And they've been reprioritized. Like, the whole Gunter 66 is gonna change things, so
Mhm.
I'll bring this back for a conversation because that long list of streets has to be, we've gotta know like where we're starting and really,
And I have cost estimates for all the
Yes.
streets in the downtown,
Yeah, we-
Autry, College, all those streets. I have estimates for
We
those.
need an inventory with number of people on the street, per 100 yards or mile, or however we wanna measure it, and what condition they're in, because you need to be able to take those 2 data points and decide which street to work on first. The street that's kind of okay, it's only got 1 person living on it, that's probably the last one to look at. The one that's got people driving on it every day, or where police and fire gotta get on it every day, because there's 50 or 60 people living on it, that's the ones we need to be looking at first.
Right, and I did suggest to council at the last meeting, I believe, that when Gunter 66 comes online, it's a two ingress egress site, and one of it's on the 9th Street.
right. That just came to
That's
the
going
top.
to be a new use, and it's going to density wise, that's going to push that. It's going to put Oak Street because they're going to take 9th or Oak. It's going to push that.
Is Bounds Road a city or county road?
Bounds is city.
No.
No,
Bounds
parts.
is it? You're right off of it.
Reed is city. From Reed to my driveway is city.
Right.
From there all the way down to Old
But you're on
Town.
Bounds.
Yes, but it's only a portion of
Only a
it.
portion of it, kind of like Wall
Once you get
Street.
to
We
my
have a small
driveway,
section.
then it's Lindsay's problem. From
And
there
then
on
it's
up to Old
okay.
Tioga.
Was it county from the city to your house?
It's
So
county
north-
from Old Tioga all the way up to my
So
house.
north of you and Ray is a county?
City.
No,
City?
south,
From
south.
me north is city, and Reed is city.
Okay.
From me south towards town is county.
Oh, that
ETJ.
part's
How
really
did
bad
you
shape.
even, so are you saying that when y'all were annexed, no, we're going off. We're going way out.
Where you at,
I feel
Courtney?
it coming my way from Courtney. I felt it. You didn't
Yes.
have to say a word.
But you're
We'll
saying
talk
that
about
most
To
of that
answer
road
your
is
question,
agricultural.
yes.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
Reed
You know where I
a
was
city
going.
or a county?
Reed is a city.
Okay, because that one is horrible. If people still had hubcaps, the ditches would be littered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
But you're saying these 4 streets are agricultural,
They are heavy
Traffic.
agriculture, but there's
so
a safety element. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Even though there's only 2 people on there, it's a heavy traffic.
It's trafficked and
There, but
there is
it's
some
agricultural.
liability.
I
Because they belong
yesterday,
to us.
I mean, I was on Old Preston Road rescuing 3 missionaries. You talk about not able to go anywhere. No.
Yeah.
It's
That
the
was
only. It's all I'm saying is
worse.
it's the only area I don't see any relief. I'm just saying from all the outline road base type roads.
But getting them repaired would help the fire and police.
Yeah, I mean, we have
We've had
at
calls
least
out
one
there.
claim against us right now. We've had one other, and the police have pulled people out in bad conditions. I mean, I don't know if the fire chief would agree with me. I mean, Captain Kramer, It would be a little dangerous. There might be a little element of, I don't want to say dangerous, that's probably the wrong term. It would be
White knuckle.
riskier to take some of those roads.
I just want us to take a more scientific approach and prioritize based on, I'm not trying to leave anybody out. but,
Sure, yeah.
I mean, let's make sure we're
And that's what
frying
we'll,
the biggest fish first.
let's go over that. I'll put that on the next one because we have the list and they do need to be prioritized still because of things like, we know Gunter 66 is coming, we know all that traffic's coming. So that just pushed that area to the top because we have to be prepared for that. So yeah, we'll look at all that and that way y'all know exactly where we are on each of them too. And it's part of the decision where we're putting the money. Drainage.
Precinct
You
one.
were talking about, yeah.
Precinct one, so and Reed is one of the streets I would like precinct one to do with the patch truck. So we took the patch truck in for maintenance, as we said. It took them almost shy of 2 weeks to look at the truck, and they gave us a 2.5 week turnaround to fix the patch truck. I believe it's $5,280. I believe off the top of my head, I think that's what it was. And then talking to Commissioner Marr, we'll have to assign a value to the truck for them. I was maybe under the impression what Alderman Stevens said that they want the list. So we have a list of the roads we want them to do, but I thought they're going to send their foreman to go over it. He told me we're going to send his foreman to go over it with me. The roads they're going to do, but I'm going to give them the list tomorrow, and Reed is one of the roads, even though it's in a different precinct. It is precinct, that is precinct 3, not precinct 1.
Can I ask real quick, Deidre? You reminded me just now, Commissioner Marr asked me to get a price on that patch truck, and I never did. I just realized when you said that I haven't
What
done
we
it.
paid for it?
Yeah.
We did 60.
Okay.
And I told him what I would do is I would go out there and look for similar vehicles on sale. He was like, he just needed a good number
Right.
that was
You wanted to
acceptable
kinda
to the
compare,
county.
Yeah.
$1 million.
So- Yeah, right. What do we spell that Freightliner 22?
Yeah.
Add that in there? No.
And then
Okay,
on-
just reminded me, because I need to get back with him on that. Okay.
And then on streets, I can't remember if I was doing one, but anyway, on streets, just an update. I've got another one later under agenda item. I had to go down. I was down at the apartments yesterday. I had to make a call on some infrastructure there. So I made that, but they also told me the vaults that Mustang has approved, those should be installed, and that was the big holdup, all the Mustangs. So those vaults should be installed around the 20th of this month, and they should move fairly quickly after that to get to punch list. This should start picking up because that was the big holdup. So those vaults will be installed. Drainage. Put out the RFQ last Thursday. It advertised again in the paper this week. There's a timeline. It's on the RFQ on the website if you want to look at the timeline. But pretty happy about that. I will say that the woods did not appear to flood during the last rains. So that was a good thing. Oh, I know what I was going to say on streets. We also returned the contract back to the engineers for both the woods and Fox Bend Trace. And in the woods, I reached out to the woods and talked to them because that's going to have to be heavily coordinated. So I reached out to actually Mr. Linderman because we've been talking. And so that's one of those things I will involve the woods on from a staging standpoint because there may be some minor inconveniences as we go through these multiple driveways being done. The last is parks. The only thing I had on parks was I did give the okay to start doing some more insecticide work on the other side of the park. Usually it's the sports field side park, but we have fire ants on both sides of the park, so that's being done. And then we did remove the sign. I think we removed it the week after y'all said remove it. I will say this, the pier in the ground that the sign was piered on, that's like a house pier. I mean, that pier was
It wasn't
massive.
going anywhere.
It was
It
about
would've crumbled.
It was about an
That
8-foot
stick
concrete
would've been there.
core pier.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
huge.
Huge.
It bent it tilted the excavator over trying to pull it up.
Yeah.
But that would have lasted forever, but the sign is gone. And so we did cap the electricity, and we'll see what the town council decides they want to do as far as signage in the future.
What was that on MD or EDC that was talking about signage?
It was.
At one point?
It was.
Okay. Because I know I sat in that meeting, I was listening to them talk about this, and Monessa, and someone else did a great job driving, looking at things, and I'm like, you'd probably just go down to Frisco and look at these neighborhood signs, and that's
Yeah.
what we could look at.
Some of
'Cause
these
they were,
grand entrances.
yeah,
things
that's
like
what they were
that,
looking
yeah.
at. Do we want to be
Something
like
like that.
Prosper, to where it's here's your grand thing, or just
Right.
here's welcome to Gunter?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you could just drive around some of these neighborhoods and be like, that one shouldn't be, that looks great, and it shouldn't be too technical
Right.
to do.
I met with a few
So,
people when we went to TML.
mhm.
There were a lot of sign vendors there, and I met with a few of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pass
thank
that
you.
on,
Thank you, Deidre.
pass that on to,
Thanks.
to the EDC.
And I'd still like us to talk to Ameritex and see if they won't partner with
I
us
agree.
and make us a cement monument that doesn't require
I
annual.
think that's a relationship we gotta build, absolutely. What do you like
Have you
that?
s-
Signs? I don't see that on the
We're off
agenda.
topic.
I know, right?
Oh, the last one on streets teacher just reminded me, so, I told the iWorks people we'd get it done after the new year, so the customer portal is live tonight for iWorks. So it's a little more interactive, the mobile site is up. You can put on pictures, whatever the information you want, that generates the email depending on the category. And, Donna also, I sort of rigged it a little bit, so, it wasn't really designed for code enforcement, but code enforcement, she'll get an email if a code enforcement or animal control related option is selected. So, just a little update on that.
So the app is running?
It
Yes.
is.
Who was
That's
asking
pretty
about that?
I tried it today.
Who was asking about the?
the Apple last?
Oh,
Last meeting.
Nancy?
yes, at our town hall.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think we got everything filed at the range till like 3:34.
On our end, it was ready, but on the opposite end, it had to, on both ends, it hadn't been.
So can we follow up with her?
Yeah, I can follow up with her and let her know. I did try it today and here's my confirmation email, it's pretty cool. If you do wanna test it, just make sure you're saying you're testing it, so that you don't drive out and crazy. But it's kinda cool, it just says a request has been submitted, looks nice, everything that you can put like photos in, you can tell where it is, like pothole or dead animal or whatever it is. And then as he updates the progress, it'll send you a notification, let you
That's
know.
beautiful.
I love it, it's so cool.
I'm gonna crash.
So I would ask everybody not just run test it, but, you know,
Since we're still talking about streets, can I talk about streets? Okay. I brought a prop.
that's part of our agenda item tonight.
So for the last 4 months, this beautiful piece of metal has been sitting in a yard. And I've driven past it. And I've driven past it, and today was the last day I'm gonna drive past it. Maple, every stop sign on Maple may not need to be replaced, it could be repaired. But here's what I want us to keep in mind. We're going strong about this code enforcement. I'm telling you right now, if I lived on Maple Street and I got a ticket for code enforcement, I'd tell you you'll piss up a road. Who is gonna be code enforcement for the city? So it doesn't take a crew to pick this up. We've got stuff that we can do that does not require a crew that is not getting done. We are not gonna attract people that wanna live here. We're not gonna attract businesses if we allow our streets to be in such disrepair. And I am beyond disappointed. Because I feel like I've kind of raised my voice on this more than once. McConnell, I think it was 3 weeks ago. I said, hey, I saw a rock hauler, no turn signal, nothing, busted down McConnell, off 289. That road is barely big enough for a dually. Had lunch with Danny. And I said, hey man, what's it gonna take for us to get a no truck traffic on that side? Well, there used to be one. So I don't know what we're doing on a weekly basis to go look at what we have and take inventory of what needs to be fixed and what is missing or what is damaged, but it's not been happening and it needs to start. Maple Street, I don't know how more clear I can be. That has got to get fixed, and it does not take a crew. I can get a truck and a come along, and I can straighten them poles. It's got to be fixed. It's embarrassing. If I was responsible for that, and by proxy I am. Now that I'm on the city council, that's got my name on it too. And I don't live in a world of low expectation. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. But I don't want to drive down Maple next week and see what I see today.
So just for the record, that was part of the agenda item number 8, and we're gonna come back to that too.
When we get back around to 8, I got some stuff to add to what you said.
Okay, and we'll thoroughly talk about this right here during agenda item number 8. So just want to, for the record, we didn't go off off our agenda.
Well, you know,
We're gonna
technically,
circle
we
back
can go
to
off
it.
agenda, we just can't take actions.
We can't discuss
If
things
we
that are
discuss
not
it,
on the
It
agenda.
has to be on the agenda because it's part of the decision-making process, even if we don't take action.
We put it on the agenda next week. and
We will
take
put it
action.
on the agenda under the
Gordon
streets
has
here
been
too,
very
but
nice
we
that we
can
at least
talk
have
to
one
it.
tennis shoe on the lane.
That's right.
That's right, one tennis shoe. So, real quick, Danny, okay, D&M leasing is here.
Yes, Ms. Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to, if that's okay with you guys, since they're here visiting.
Yes, yeah,
We're
jump
gonna
it
pull them from number 11 up to next. Where are we? We just finished 3. Okay, so number 11 is gonna come at next, as number 4. And this is to discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing staff to move forward with D&M commercial leasing for 3 emergency service vehicles. Now, we, did discuss this a little bit in our budget when we added the 2 new officers too. We briefly talked about what comes with that. We didn't and we knew that this was on the way, and he had presented this. There's a lot of bonuses to moving this direction as opposed to with Enterprise. But we didn't officially authorize the vehicles at the change.
At the budget meeting.
Yes, and because if it was just a one-time thing, it's in Danny's budget this year to be able to do that. So if Chief Jones wanted to do it, he could. Except I wanted it to come to you guys because this is not a one-time, it's an ongoing, and you need to be able to authorize it. We are not ready to do a budget amendment for the year, but this is in there, a packet too, right?
No.
Was this not in the packet?
That's not.
Okay, so we're gonna have Chief come up and just kind of briefly explain it.
That
I know
is in
you
your
have
packet.
the DNM under number 11.
It's in your email.
Oh, okay.
He didn't
So,
Are
it'll
we talking
change-
Camaro like we did at budget?
No. We're gonna stick with the Tahoes, but the reason it's coming to you now is because it has to be changed and it's an ongoing expense. And if we don't do it now, then the 2 vehicles that do exist that are older, I think they're 24s and
2024s.
2024s. Once they're gone, then we may have to pay more later waiting and having to order. So it kind of makes sense if there's 2, if we're gonna go this direction, now might be the better time to do it based on saving some money in the long run. So, Chief Jones, I'm gonna let you, what did you say, Tara's?
Tariff.
Now, and we've partnered with the Gunter Fire Department.
Yes.
And Captain Kramer. Captain Kramer and I have decided, moving forward, we'd like to work together on mirroring one another when it comes to equipment. And so Sergeant Wilbanks and I had a long, extensive meeting with Matt Browning, who's the CEO of Halo 36. He will be doing the upfitting of the units. Sergeant Wilbanks twisted his arm yesterday during the meeting to see if we could come under $25,000 for the upfitting. We had it marked up 26.2 just to pad those numbers because we didn't know at the time how much that would cost. We'd rather come in lower than not have enough when we were originally getting the quote. The quotes for the 2024s Tahoes, they're 4-wheel drive, and he's got 4. The good news about that is we needed 2, and Captain Kramer's department needed 1. So he's saving 3 of the 4 for the city of Gunter. And the good thing about that is the 2024s, they're able to give us a much better deal because he already has them ready to be upfitted. D&M Leasing, he would just sell those to D&M Leasing, give them back to them for the upfitting. The 2025s, we just don't know if they're going to come in and when they would come in, and then you're going to pay more in the long run by waiting for those to come in. So the good news is we've got 3 held for the city of Gunter at Halo 36. And again, the D&M Leasing, Sergeant Wilbanks and I have been really working extensively with them. They offer a much better product when it comes to the things they offer, the packages they offer. Whereas some of the competitors, such as Enterprise, they kind of got boxed in, and they're actually doing away with a bunch of their programs that they currently have. And so D&M Commercial Leasing offers a much better product and a way of doing business. One of the biggest ones they do offer is up front for our upfitting, let's say, and we were able to come in under $25,000, they will, instead of having us pay that out of pocket for the city, they basically roll that into the lease, and then we just incorporate that in our monthly payment. So they finance it, yes, sir. Whereas the other competitors will pay up to 10% of that, and then everything other more than 10,000 comes out of the city's pocket. And so it's a really good way to do business, and if we're zero down, basically, they just incorporate that. So that was huge for a city, especially our size, that is dealing with restrictions and financing. I've got D&M Leasing personnel here. If y'all would like to have if y'all have any questions as far as the council-wise go, to answer any questions about the leasing options and programs that they offer.
Are we getting like any benefit, like an economy of scale, because we're putting our fire and police together? Is it, if somebody's buying 10 vehicles as opposed to 3, I would assume they get a better deal. Is that fair?
Well, because we're gonna run you through the co-op.
Yeah.
Yes, you're getting as if you were Dallas or Fort Worth, because we're running you through the buy-board co-op.
And I don't think we had any kind of, we didn't have that with the other guys, right?
Right, and they are through buy board. The quote that they gave me, again, we're going to come in under that, which is a good. Again, we want to be good stewards of the city's money and the taxpayers' money, and so they are through buy board, which is a government entity that helps lower the costs.
I think it's great. Of course, you and I talked a little bit about it.
It's Sergeant Wilbanks is here.
If I could add a couple things, because I've been in a whole lot of talk. So to introduce them, this is Josh. He's our rep, and then Jerry is the vice president of governmental sales. So I've been on the phone a lot with them. A couple things of why I initially started looking at it is Enterprise customer service was not good to us. So when we call their customer service, we get bounced around the phone tree. And I didn't like that. And then when I finally spoke to our area rep, he's not easy to deal with, right? And I thought as a customer, even though we're a small customer, that we should probably get better treatment of that. The second thing is with Enterprise, even when the principal balance and the insurance is paid off, that vehicle never becomes ours.
Right.
Right. So we could either run it the 60-month term and turn it back in, or we can keep extending it and run it till all the principal and the interest is paid. And so with Enterprise, that wasn't possible. Even when all that got paid off, they still retained the title and charged us $25 just to keep it on their books. D&M, that's different. Once our principal and our interest paid off, that vehicle will get signed over to the city of Gunter. So I think as we're growing, especially vehicles that don't get super high miles or don't need a lot of repairs, it would make sense for us to retain those vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And if we didn't want to retain those, then D&M will assist us in sending them to auction, and then that auction money can get added back into our account for future vehicles.
How long does it take to depreciate one of these police vehicles? I mean, is it like a 7-year depreciation?
No, that's all gonna depend on like the term that you guys do. So we have cities that we can depreciate it over a shorter period of time because the idle times on those vehicles and how many miles that they're putting on them will depreciate them faster. For a city like Gunter, we would probably depreciate it over 5 years, but you don't pay the entire balance.
Right.
We can depreciate it all the way down to $1 if you choose to do that, or depreciate it down to where maybe you only owe $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, and then that way you can turn it over. Or if you want to buy it, whatever the balance is, you just stroke a check and then we'll transfer title.
That makes sense.
And like Sergeant Wilbanks talked about,
We were trapped,
yes,
which
we
is
were
why you
trapped.
probably didn't get good customer service.
We
They
didn't.
didn't have to offer it because you were trapped.
Yes, ma'am. And we're at this point, we're early on. It makes more sense for us to build our motor pool up in case. For now, we're slotted for 8 officers. We have 7. We're actually interviewing the process now. This helps not only keep from hot seating these vehicles, that also does keep idling the engine time 24/7, and that does tear the vehicles, or lots of wear and tear on the vehicles. The other thing is adding 2 additional units to the Gunter Police Department also helps us be in compliance with our take-home policy right now for the officers, and that's huge when it comes to for us, our department, our size. We can't compete with some of the cities to our south that are paying $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 to their officers. But what this does is gives me another tool, gives us availability to another tool to help recruiting, and that's that type of culture that we are building here within the city of Gunter. And it's just another tool to help us retain some quality officers on our current budget.
So Enterprise, that's a pretty big outfit, but you guys work with some big cities. So
Yeah.
as we scale, you'll be able to scale with us?
Yeah, so Enterprise is global.
Yeah.
They're global, and we're just national. So yes, we have customers from Portland, Oregon, all the way down to Winter Park, Florida. Texas, we're really big in Texas, of course. Our whole office is in Fort Worth. And we even have the TexMass contract. We're the only one that services all the state agencies. Our biggest agency that we service is DPS right now.
I'd rather spend our money in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, Danny and them have been doing a lot of research and a lot
Heck
of
yeah.
work to
You've been
find
doing this
those.
since last June.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been well over a year.
You know,
And kudos to the representatives from D&M Commercial Leasing and Mr. Matt Brown from Halos 36. We've been talking with them I guess going close to over a year or almost a year, and they want to do business with small towns like us because that's what they're in it for, to help folks like us, smaller departments. Whereas we're not competitive with. We go to Dana, Defender, some of these other outfitting units. They cater towards the bigger cities like Bedford, Dallas, and so this helps us, and it's a win-win for the city and for them. And again, we're going to get much better quality customer service with D&M Commercial Leasing versus what we've been having through Enterprise.
So we'll start with the 3 that we're considering now, and then how long will it take us to kind of move everything over, everything goes well, then we want to get out of the other and move this direction
Sure. If it's going to be based upon how
when the others are needed.
what the others are needed and how fast the city grows, because that'll determine how many officers that we're going to need to stay out in front of the growth for sure. But this is helping us get out in front of that. Whereas if we would have stayed with the Enterprise, it's that carrot and stick where we're having to constantly being under their thumb. This is a much better product and much better customer service and way of doing business. Again, once we get to that point where we can build our motor pool up, then we can reach that point where every 3 to 4 or 5 years we can take the oldest units and start recycling them and keeping new stuff out there on the roadway and keeping everybody safe.
So we're not under contract with Enterprise?
We are.
We are currently under contract, but once the once
But it's
the
car specific.
vehicles, yes, it is.
How
It
long-
doesn't prevent us from entering in a contract through D&M Commercial Lease and moving forward. This just means that the vehicles that we have currently through Enterprise, we pay them down to the lease term, and then they retain the title. We pay $25 per month after that.
Okay.
So I do wanna point out, this will change our monthly lease, right? It was like close to $400,
What's that?
the change over from what we're paying to, like, apples to apples. It's increasing it, I think it was less than $400
Like
on a monthly
11.
basis.
Yeah, it's
Right.
$1,100. I think is $1,100 to $1,200 currently with Enterprise on the 2021s that we currently have. With
We're
this,
around
we
16.
roll it in, and we're about
Yes.
$1,600,
Because
$1,650.
of all of
The
the
outfit.
add-ons and the outfits.
With the outfitting.
That we're rolling into that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
but with Enterprise, we get no residual.
We're
value.
getting nothing back and you're trapped.
Well, also, I ran a price comparison with Enterprise, and we've looked at D&M, and we looked at one other leasing company, and for what we're getting, D&M beats those prices.
Yeah.
So when we originally got the 3 units that we have through Enterprise now, I think those were leased back in 21, and so it was 21 prices. Also, we paid completely upfront for all of our outfitting, so they didn't finance any of that
That's
for us.
right.
And so that's why that monthly payment is a
Is
little bit
lower.
lower.
Yeah.
But if you price the same car with Enterprise now, not the same car because they don't get new cars, but if you price the current car with them now, they're more up to where D&M's at, and we have to pay a lot of upfront money for outfitting.
Exactly.
D&M doesn't upcharge any of the upfitting. So if Halo says it's $24,900 to upfit it, they don't add to that. They just roll that much into our lease.
Did we get a good interest rate?
So the interest rate is estimated right now because they can't lock it because they have to run the finances for the city. We estimated it at, Josh, you remember what we estimated it at?
I think right now it's high, it's at like 8% right now.
Yeah, we estimated it high because what we wanted to do is all the estimates that we got, we wanted to be worst case scenario. And then once we get the contract going, if we come in, $50, $100, $200 less than what that is, then it's an even better deal.
No, I like
And
that.
same with our equipment. We
Like we
would
did on
rather
the
come in and say, hey, we're under budget versus
Yep.
we need more money to come back with budget.
And I think that the others on Enterprise, aren't they up in 26? They have one more year? I think that they're up in 26, so it's
They're 5
actually
years
answered my question earlier. I think next year we do this again to move out of Enterprise.
It's one more year. Okay.
I can't
Yeah.
remember, but I think it was. I think it's one more year.
So we need to take action on this?
So we've got to authorize Danny to be able to move forward.
And I don't
It's
want
in
to
his
forget
budget now,
Captain
but
Kramer back
Because
here.
it's, yeah,
He would have the third
yes.
unit, but we had talked today. Their unit will probably even be lower than what ours would be because it's probably not going to cost as much to outfit
It
their
won't be as
unit
much.
as it would ours.
Who
Is
is
that
financing,
correct?
Captain Kramer, who is financing your unit right
The
now?
fire.
Enterprise.
Enterprise.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I make a motion to approve.
Let
I'll
him move
second.
forward.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a first with Wade, a second with Dave, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you,
Thank you,
Chief,
Mr.
and
Mayor,
thank you,
Council.
Dan and Lacey, for being
Thank you
here.
all for coming.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Josh was in Denton, so I came all the way up from Mansfield, so did y'all have some more
wow.
questions for me? I mean-
Can you
Well,
get us a
darn.
Bearcat?
Yes. Yeah, we do equipment leasing, so,
Yeah,
so if you ever need anything like
Oh, that's
that,
good to
just,
know,
they
too.
can get a hold of Joshua, we do public works vehicles. And on your enterprise vehicles, once you're done with them, if you just turn the vehicle over to enterprise, then you're finished with that, your liability is over with, well, I just wanted to mention that.
Well, just so you know, Danny wanted a motorcycle, but he wasn't gonna wear the pants.
or take the hat off.
But I will tell you, like customer service, we get no phone tree. Josh is our rep. I call Josh's cell phone almost every 2 days.
Oh, that's good.
And if he don't answer immediately, he calls me back within the hour.
That's
And
great.
so
Thank
there
you,
is no
Josh.
phone tree. If me, Captain Kramer, Chief Jones, or as teacher, if we have any problems, we call Josh directly,
That's,
and we yell at him.
that's important, that's important, thank you.
We need to get the ISD to do the same thing, if they've got a police car, don't they?
They
Yes,
got
They've
a
got
couple.
one, they
Are
do,
they with Enterprise?
they
I
probably
believe
are.
so. I think they own those units out.
Yeah, they own those Suburbans as well for their.
What was with the Camaro that was parked out in front?
So what's happening with that is we have two different officers from two different agencies that live outside of their take-home radius from their cities. One's from Little M and one's from Collin County Precinct 4, I believe, in the constable's office.
Okay.
We've allowed them to park their units at our PD because it's halfway, and they got authorization from us. And we've allowed them to park where we park our police units.
good.
It's well lit.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, it looks like we have more units than what we have, and it creates a deterrent there on 289. But it's a win-win for us.
No,
We don't have a Camaro, darn
So
it,
we
Wayne.
don't have a Camaro, but yes, it looks like we do.
So ever so slightly off topic, did you get that message I sent you about the Pottsboro guy that does the police tires?
Yes. Appreciate it. Thank you. And again, we're always constantly looking, Sergeant Wilbanks and I, Captain Kramer, at vendors, suppliers that we can do business with that, more bang for our buck. I know because we've used other places. I'm looking at any way we can trim the fat, we're gonna look at those options, 100%.
Look at those guys. Those guys are also doing the ISD's vehicles as
Yes.
well, so, but they specifically handle police tires.
Right.
Which apparently are special.
They have to be pursuit rated.
Yeah, they're pursuit rated.
Yes.
And if you need any help with the ISDs for Public Works, just let us know. We do a lot of ISDs throughout the state. School buses or SRO vehicles, it doesn't matter.
Nothing else, maybe we can get you an introduction.
Sure.
Yeah, well, Chief Satchery and I, and Sergeant Wilbanks are really close. We usually have coffee every morning. That's something we can point him in your direction.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Joshua can join you because he lives right up the street.
And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Matt Browning, the CEO for Halo 36, lives in Prosper.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He has, again, the customer service, hands down, 100%, just phenomenal. There's been times where we've taken my unit to his office to get the rifle rack put in my unit. While doing so, he dropped his personal ride off at the PD and took mine while he had it done. And that's the type of customer service that we get when we have somebody, the CEO that lives in Prosper and knows us. He's wanted our business for years. And last year we finally got together and made it happen.
We just need to spend our money in Texas.
Yep. Right here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, so agenda item number 4, discuss consider act upon an ordinance accepting the city secretary's certification of unopposed candidates for the general election on May 3rd. So I will still be your mayor, Alan Richens will still be Alderman Place 2, and Wade Brooksville will still be Alderman Place 4. So, do I have a first?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I make a
I'm not
motion.
doing it.
I make a motion that we accept the city secretary's certification of unopposed candidates for the municipal general election and authorize the order of cancellation of the municipal general election on May 3rd, 2025.
And I'll second all of that.
William second. Cindy with the first, William with the second, all in favor?
And Mayor, you and I will need to sign this tonight because I have to send this first thing in the morning.
I figured we were at the deadline.
We are.
We're so good at that.
I know, we're really good at that. Hey, speaking of deadlines though, we met them all for the MVD and money's on the way. That's a good thing. In fact, our deadline is gonna be a challenge to get the bank account set up in time.
That's a concern.
So that's an exciting thing. Okay, so number 5, discuss consider act upon a resolution, City Council, City of Gunter, Texas, approving the funding agreement with the Gunter MDD. So where the district will provide the funding for the city's purchase of the real estate from the ISD in the amount of $358,934. We touched a little bit on this earlier. Do y'all have any other questions?
I'm still not keen on one government entity making money off of another one, using tax money, doing it twice, so.
What?
Well, they bought it with tax money, and they carried it on their books with tax money, and they should just transfer it over to us for whatever it costs, because otherwise taxpayers are gonna pay twice.
You buy a piece of property for $100,000, even 10 years
No,
later,
because
it's still $100,000. Because it's.
But the taxpayer for the ISD gets paid, they get their money back because he sold
No,
it.
they
No, they
don't.
don't get their money back, the taxpayer goes, the taxpayers.
Well, the taxpayer didn't get their money back, it goes back to the ISD though, it's now an asset they, wait, hold on, you're not supposed to be talking though.
You know,
Yeah.
they're
So
gonna-
if you
they-
do
they
want to
develop
speak
an
to the
asset.
agenda item, you can hop up here at the podium.
They develop an
It just
asset
seems
through the
unseemly.
taxpayer,
3 minutes.
Okay,
and now they're selling the asset.
3 minutes.
Mark Merrill, 71 Mallard Court. The problem I have with it is not only are you paying for it once through your taxes and paying for it again through your taxes, but you don't ever get the money back. It's wasted money. The money that was spent by the ISD, where's it going next? What are they going to fund with that money? Well, hold on. If you say that they're going to get the tax money back, you don't really. And if they go buy another piece of property and then flip it later and continue to do this, all they're doing is taking my tax money
To be a broker.
to be a broker. And that's, in my opinion, not cool. You know, I see what the federal government's doing. I see what our state government's doing about all the fraud and all the things that are going on where people are being funded, NGOs are being funded with tax dollars. And the actual idea that the taxpayer gets a benefit from any of this, you know, I asked William earlier, how did y'all come up with the $358,000 appraisal? Who authorized the appraisal? Was it done by the school district's people? Are they maximizing their profitability on it? And the reason I'm asking that is the neighborhood I'm in, you could go buy an acre plus lot for less than $200,000. No, it's not in downtown Gunter, but that lot's not anywhere near the size of what I'm talking about. The CAD has it on for $260,000. You're going to pay $100,000 premium over that? The CAD, I mean,
We've already approved it.
I understand that you've already approved it, but nobody spoke out from the public about any of it. And in reality, payers, myself included, because I still paid school taxes, is paying for that again.
Well,
You know, they spent the money the first time, and now we're spending it again on the same exact thing.
if I'd have known what the CAD said, I would not have said yes.
Because when we were in that meeting, we were presented this is what the value.
The EDC.
Yeah, EDC had the.
You know, my issue.
So I believe you may still have an opportunity because the EDC is being authorized to do this, but the EDC is going away, correct? And the MDD was not authorized to do this or take this action. So you do have an opportunity to stop it still at this point, in my opinion.
We need the property.
Do we need it for $358,000? By the time you pave it, it's well over $500,000, probably closer to $750,000 to have a parking lot of 130 spaces? 100 spaces.
Okay, so your time is up, let us discuss. So, again,
So I just want to
there
use the past
was
truck
an
as an
appraisal.
Like, we're not gonna sell that past truck to the county for a profit. We got it on the books for 60, that's we're gonna transfer it to
That's a
them
good
for.
example.
Because the county shouldn't be spending county money for something that's already used tax money to buy. Same exact issue. It's just troubling to me that we would have one taxing authority make a profit, which they're not supposed to do, on something that taxpayers gave them the money for in the first place. That's what bothers me.
Did they have a list price?
No.
No, because it was gonna be a sealed bid, and then we asked them not to do that, to give us an opportunity, and that's where the appraisal was done. It showed the market value. It's
So-
my understanding that we had to pay that.
So at no time the school, they didn't say, well, hey, if you want it, this is what it's gonna take.
No.
The school
No, it
didn't
was
do
all
that.
based on appraisal.
No, we actually had to go to them.
For the
to
same
get-
reason
to
that
be
your home
put ahead of
is
the
not
CSA.
actually, what you pay taxes on as
They've got- they had a
appraised
list of
value is not
properties
really
that
what
were
the
put in
market
sealed
is, or
bid,
you'd
and
get a
we
whole
went to
lot,
them and
you
said,
would
"Hey,
sell it
We're interested
today."
in this one. Can you
And I know
go
that
through
for a
the sealed
fact.
bid
But I'm a
process?"
private person, I make a profit on stuff when I sell it. I'm
And
not
I
a
understand
government
that.
entity, and I use my money.
I'm saying
It's
Right.
like $6
I'm not using a taxpayer, which is somebody else's money.
So
Well, the
did we
school's had
offer
this
any?
property for a long time, and if that's the market value, and they can get that from the
So
from
the appraisal
developers.
Came back at 6.
Well, then you have to ask
Why-
yourself, why is the
Well, I
school
don't-
using
I-
tax money to buy property that's
I
not
don't know where
used?
the,
I don't know how long they've had it, that's a great question,
Well,
but,
they're
but
also selling 2 other plots.
without going backwards,
Natural
this is where it is, they own it. Why they bought it or what they planned on doing, I don't know. It's irrelevant, honestly. I mean,
Well-
at this moment, they own it.
I just want to.
They're going to sell it.
We need it, not want it, and it's the right cost for it.
that's all I need. If somebody can show me that that's what it's worth.
Right.
And it's clear to me, because if I can understand it, I'm pretty sure anybody in the city can. But if it appraised at 315 and we're stroking a check for 380, I do have a problem with that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be doing that.
Maybe Don has some insight.
Don
So-
Anderson, 102 Falls
Okay,
Creek
I
Lane.
didn't see you standing there, Don, I almost jumped, y'all. I almost like, that's how high alert I
It's
am.
part of that ninja thing. You
I
just
am
pop
right
in
now.
every now and
No,
then.
it's after Saturday's crazy afternoon of terror, so.
Okay.
um,
As far as the value of it, that was determined for the MBD by Josh Long. It turns out that he was also the realtor that was, working with the ISD. So that's where that came from.
But is that documented somewhere?
There is
It
an
was a-
appraisal. There is an appraisal, you have to have that.
Okay, so it seems like an appraisal
I'll
from
give that
realtors she's representing seems like a conflict.
Right there.
Should
Well,
we get an independent appraisal?
I didn't see the appraisal itself. This was what was briefed by Josh at our EDC meeting on that part. I found out later that he was also
I mean,
representing
not that I
them.
don't trust him.
He says that the value was determined by, current value, that he went in, looked at it and all, for that kind of space. And that we were looking at making an offer that was commensurate with what the value is so that they would accept it. That was the way that was done.
Commensurate, so they would accept it. Does that mean that we
Well,
pay?
if they
over
didn't,
the
if they
appraisal?
didn't like what we were proposing on an unsealed bid, then they
were
could
gonna
just
go
put it back into a sealed bid.
I can't imagine there was a long line of people that were gonna buy that piece of property over there.
Hang on, Don, I want to go back to what you said a minute ago. Who said this was a price that would be what they would take?
Josh Long.
So did anyone from the city ever actually talk to anyone from the school district?
Eric and Adam both met with Martindale. That sounded wrong for a second.
So
When these conversations were happening, Eric and Adam both did, correct? Yes,
Yeah, we talked to the school.
I mean,
before
like,
this number
probably
presentation
3
or after?
meetings.
I don't remember the chronology where we talked to the school.
I remember where it came out to $6 a square foot and we were gonna offer $8 a square foot. Was that after the meeting with Martindale?
Honestly can't remember.
Yeah,
There were
It was
2 or
a
3
couple months
meetings.
ago.
Well,
So do we
And-
need to
and
go
went
back
back
and
and
just
forth,
get
so-
an independent?
Well, let's talk about this. Today's vote is to allow the funding mechanism to happen, for the MDD to fund it. Does not mean we have to go buy it. If we don't buy it, we can
but then the
get
NDD's
information.
stuck
Well,
with
no, their
with the
money's
price.
sitting there, it's
With the MDD.
earmarked, so to speak, restricted for this. They're
MDD
promising
can't
to
buy
do it, but they can't buy it. So if we don't buy it, we just don't take the money. We don't,
So item number 6 on the
Right.
agenda is to approve the purchase and sale agreement. So,
The other thing on that is the EDC
it's not just,
authorized $348,000, which means now they all added in there, I believe, is probably closing costs, which has brought it up to the 358. So on our next MDD meeting, we're gonna have to revote that amount.
okay, I was under the understanding that this was agreeing to, well, the funding agreement to have this transferred over, but you still have to go through the sale.
yeah, you've got
You're saying-
2 items on your agenda.
Right.
One for
The
the
first one.
funding agreement, or one for,
Yes.
approving the
The
funding
second one is
agreement.
approving the purchase, yes.
And the second
Okay,
one
lost me
approves
for
the
a second.
purchase. Yeah.
I'm like, but I thought we were on this, never
Sounds like
mind,
two
got my
tables
wires
to me.
crossed.
Yeah, I'd rather table both of them.
I
So-
Okay. What do
Especially
we
with
say?
new information, I propose to table both of 5 and 6.
Okay,
One
so,
at a time, big boy.
did you
Yeah,
say something,
fine.
Cindy, or did you?
I did.
Did you
Table
say
both.
you motioned to table it?
Motion to table number 5.
Okay, Alan with a first to motion to table it,
I'll second.
okay?
Wade motion to table number 6.
Okay,
I'll
then
And we
Dave
need
with
to
it, hold on.
table it to a date certain, so do you want it on your next meeting?
Can we have conditions?
30 days.
So on number
On
5,
the table, like what we need for it to,
Well, we can just
before we
keep
see
tabling
it?
You just need
we have a
a
meeting in 2 weeks.
date
The 20th, so you wanna say the March 20th?
Yeah.
That'll give us
to
some-
get these
Well, that's-
things that
that's
you've
a
discussed
normal
answered.
That's our normal
Uh,
one, March 20th is our
appraisal.
next.
And then if it comes up and you don't have it back by then, you'll just table it again.
Right, okay, so then, am I understanding on number 5, Alan has made a motion to table it to the next meeting, March 20th.
Okay.
I have Dave with a second.
Wait,
All in,
No.
Oh.
all in favor?
Oh,
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. This one has been tabled. Now,
So can
That's
we,
what I had
can
too.
we,
Okay.
Wait
We
till
need
number
it.
6.
what,
Go ahead.
we need to ask for some things, like, do we want an independent appraisal?
I think so.
That's when we discuss it at the next meeting.
we're
Well,
gonna, no, I'm gonna gather all the data
We gotta
first. I don't know what we
That's what
need.
I
We need to
I'm not
gather the
making a
data.
decision until I see some.
And I
meat
think that
on
that's,
the bone.
I think that's fair for all of us. It's clear we don't understand exactly the timeline of what happened. Let's get the information. Let me gather the info for y'all. And then we will discuss it and maybe take action on the next one.
The mayor, we're trying to do 5 and 6 at the same time.
No, we did
We
five.
just did
Well,
5.
no, because she said the wrong names. So the first was Alan, second was Wade. For item 5.
Well, Dave and
For
Wade,
five.
they did the same.
Okay.
So if we wanna change it, are y'all good with that? Alan with the first, Wade with the second. Okay, and then all in favor. Okay, that's number 5.
Aye.
Number 6, to discuss, consider, and act upon the resolution for approving the purchase and sale agreement.
I make a motion to table that one until we find out what the proper value
Okay.
should be that we put forward.
Can I bring it back on the 20th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so table, Wade has a first to table it to March 20th.
Seconds.
I've got Dave with a second.
Before you call for the vote, this would be a good time to discuss what information you want to be presented
Yes.
at your next meeting.
So,
So you've got it setting out there, now tell us what all you want to come back, because it will not change the motion to table.
right. So I can get you a timeline as best I can of retracking like when this became a subject matter and what meetings we had. We'll try to dig through and see what our meetings were. I can probably find out just going through emails.
So I
And then we need the appraisal.
Appraisal.
So those 2 things, what else?
wanna know, how's Josh involved in this, Josh Long, because if we're dealing directly with the school district, why do we have to have a realtor involved? And
He's
is
the
that-
realtor for the
They're
school
real-
Is
district.
that costing
Yeah,
us?
he represents them.
Now.
And
we
he
brought
did-
someone.
He did
He did recuse himself
Okay.
and
From
leave the room in all conversations, so.
Well, but are we paying a commission? I'm
Well-
sure we are.
That would be the school.
Because you're paying for them to handle all the title and doing everything.
The buyer pays
So of
the
course we
commission.
would,
The taxpayer.
In the end,
yeah.
it goes into the property value.
Just like if we bought a property, there would be somebody doing title and all of those things that you're paying for. So of course,
So we shouldn't have somebody that's on board brokering deals and making profit off of it and being in the middle of it. It just doesn't look right.
He's not in the middle of it. He
Looks like
recused
he
himself.
recused himself though.
But he
Well,
brought
recuse
it.
himself, does that mean he's not getting
He's
a
still a
commission?
beneficiary of something
No.
that's being.
Well, then
I
he's
don't
not
know.
really,
Look,
so
if-
recuse is nothing. He's still
if
getting a
recuse
commission.
himself
If
from
the
the
MDD
decision
came to my family's company, I would
Well,
recuse
again,
myself.
we're
It
not
doesn't mean we
talking about-
don't profit
we're not
as a
talking about
business,
personal things, we're talking about 2 government entities.
but they still have an agent representing them. They're gonna pay the fees.
Is that how we found out about the property?
Yes, it actually is. I believe, I'll check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly how we found out about the property, that it was available.
Well, that doesn't make it any better, but
Okay,
There's a couple plots that were available, coming available.
But if the school district hired a broker, we don't have
Then
any
we don't
control
have-
over that.
Yeah, we
So,
have to pay it.
so
They're-
that-
They're doing a job.
yeah, the
But
school
when the-
district
When
has
the
to.
broker is working for the school district and he's also on the board and he brings the deal.
But he recused himself.
Well,
he
and
recused
and that
He's
portion-
out of it.
all of
He's
that's
saying,
on the
"I'm out
school
of this."
district side. We don't have control over that.
Yeah,
So-
if it's a conflict, it would be on the ISD
That's
side.
on their side.
Not
Yeah,
Right.
that's
It's not
not
us.
us.
It's definitely not us on our side.
So
And
I
Josh
thought I
did
heard
recuse
somebody say
himself.
you wanted an independent appraisal
Yes.
because Josh Long did the appraisal.
Okay.
So between now and the 20th, we need to hire somebody to appraise that property.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you authorize us to do?
So
Okay.
Josh did a comp, he didn't do an
Yeah.
appraisal. Doing a property comparison is not the same thing as an
That's
appraisal.
true, yeah. So we want an independent appraisal.
He did what's called a community,
Jeannie, if you're gonna talk, you need to come to the podium like everybody else, girl, you know it. I'm okay with you speaking on this agenda item, but you gotta do it properly.
sorry,
Thank
that was in the hospital and it's operated on
Oh.
the board, so
Yeah, thank you.
I'm a little shook.
You're okay.
He did is what's called in the realtor world, a community,
Comparative analysis?
yeah,
Comp.
Yeah.
Comp.
yeah, comps.
Yeah.
And that's how he come up with that price. There was not an actual appraisal done by a legalized appraisal.
Okay.
Well, then that's a problem.
So we'll do this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like if I'm gonna go sell my house and I know what this one's selling for and that one's selling for, my real estate agent's gonna give me a comp. And we're gonna say, hey, let's list it. This is what we're gonna ask for, right? Now, my mortgage company may come back and say, I want an appraisal because I don't wanna lend on that because I don't think it's worth it or whatever. Then you move to that next step. But look, if the property is a piece of property that it's kind of all there is in that area, it's, what is it worth to the person buying it? For us, we wanted it because we wanted to improve our downtown. We wanted parking. We wanted to support our local businesses. Down there, what is happening? Oh,
Me.
so I was like, what is that?
something.
Yeah.
Okay, so what, if the person buying it wants to buy it, that's where we are now, right? We don't know if we want to, it sounds like.
But the other
We
part,
want-
the other
Same-
part,
same
We want to
scenario.
buy it, but we want to make sure that
Yes.
we're
Yes.
buying it.
Same
at the
scenario.
proper price.
Buy it.
If you're a buyer
Mhm.
and you hear a price and then you look at CAD and it's $100,000 lower than that, I
Ask
would,
questions.
knowing
I
you,
did buy my house at that though.
yeah,
We all
but-
do.
I bought it $100,000
Yeah,
more than it was
We all do.
worth
Cat is
because
also-
it's
Yeah.
CAD does not really
CAD
represent
thinks-
market value.
To
Never.
William's
But this
point,
is, this is like commercial.
No, it's
Doesn't
the other-
matter.
the other part to
Market
it is-
value
Market
market
value
value.
is
Adam,
value.
correct me if I'm wrong, when we looked at this and we were talking about it, we even said if someone else wanted to buy it, how much more work they would have to put into it because it does get flooded.
Yeah, there's.
And you
Yeah,
can't
so-
just
With
limit.
the lift
It
station.
almost is like the best use of that piece of property is a little bit of an elevated
It's
parking
important
lot.
to us, it may
But if
not
you
be
were to put
important to
Something
anybody
else,
else.
yeah, that's
Well,
what I'm
then-
saying. But to someone else going out there to get an actual appraisal, they would
But-
put that into the
But we would
consideration.
risk it because there are developers who are
That's fine.
looking to do things, and if they had sealed the bid, then we might have just lost out.
They might wanna buy it and turn it into a parking lot as well.
And if-
And I want to go back to the
We can.
market value discussion between two governmental entities.
Right.
It is true that the school district, if they determine that the land is being sold for a public purpose,
Yeah.
then they do not have to take fair market value.
Yeah.
But again, this is a school district call. This is not your call.
Yeah,
Right.
they
The
get to
school
decide.
district will determine if it's a public purpose. Usually that's like a park or something that's next to the school.
Yeah.
And if they determine it's a public purpose, then they may come down on the price. If they say, no, it's not a public purpose for our purposes, they're gonna stick to their price and you guys have to decide if you're
If
willing
it's
to
worth
pay
it.
that price.
Right, if we wanna pay that price, and I think that's where we are right now.
I guess I'd feel
I
better.
understand all that, I just don't have a good feeling that negotiation ever happened.
I'd
Well,
feel,
let's do it.
I'd feel
let's
better
get
if
this.
I knew that, hey, if we didn't jump on this, there was 5 other people fixing to jump on it. I just don't see 5 other people dropping
I think
$350
that was
grand.
Well, I know
That's
John-
such a
I know there was
parking
somebody that wanted
Dave,
it.
I know of one
I know
person
for a
who's
fact
very
there was
interested.
somebody that wanted
And
it.
what they were gonna put in, was that gonna generate any kind of sales tax? Because a
Yeah.
parking lot ain't gonna give us a penny.
No, but
But
if
if
there's
there's
no parking
support-
down there, we can't build it downtown.
We can get a parking there today.
I know, but it's, the plan is for all that to grow and to have more shops and restaurants and stuff. Where are they
You
gonna
gotta have
park?
somewhere to park.
Well,
So
What
then the
about the
city, if we own it, we can
plan?
charge
I don't see
parking.
it.
back to that master plan that I still haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen the master.
To William's point, if the ISD was given that property and from a developer,
that'd
if
be
it was
more
$0,
Yeah, that'd be different.
then everything is
That'd be
profit.
different,
But if
man.
the ISD actually had to pay $100,000 for that lot to sell it to us, to keep the taxpayer from getting taxed twice, the $100,000 should come off of the sale price, period. That keeps it actually square.
But that's not our decision.
No, but what I'm
It's
saying,
theirs. They
that's
have a piece
William's
of property
point, is
that-
why would the taxpayer be taxed twice?
It's just like me, I know what my house
That's
is
just a
worth,
Williams
it's not what the
point.
CAD says.
Here's-
I can get about $400,000 more than what the CAD says,
But-
because I know what's sold right next door without what I have.
Guys, I get all that, it
So,
just seems
it's
unseemly
the
for one
one
government entity to be talking
We don't
about
want that.
profit.
Alright,
Well,
well, we'll
then
get
go
the
talk to
appraisal
this
done before next meeting.
Yes.
And I agree, I think
So it
we
sounds
need to-
like-
I think we
What
go
a
with
great
that,
group.
yeah.
It sounds
Let's
like we
get
need an independent appraisal, so we're
We
more
will.
satisfied with the price than we are right now. Is that
Right,
what y'all are saying?
so a timeline of how we came about, an appraisal, independent.
If we're gonna appraise it, I'm not worried
Appraise
about
it?
a
Okay.
timeline.
Yeah. I just
Don't
want
why
an
put you
appraisal.
through that extra work, but just
Okay.
get an appraisal. If that's what it says, then okay, great. If it comes back, it's worth 415,000.
Easy.
Then
Yeah.
let's get it for 358.
Okay,
Um,
so I have Wade with a motion to table it
on having a
and
appraisal
to
being
320,
done on
and in the
320.
meantime, you authorize the staff to get the appraisal.
Yes.
Okay,
And Dave gave a
and then
second.
Dave got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is unanimous. 5 and 6 are tabled. Okay, number 7, discuss, consider act upon authorizing staff to review and approve all plats except preliminary plats. This is what we talked about a couple times, even including our town hall date maybe, or our last meeting.
I
And
wasn't here for that.
Eric
I recall
has,
we talked about small plats.
well, that's what this is.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yes,
say that. It
it's the
says all
minor,
plats.
it's minor,
No, it says all plats
all plats
except
except
preliminary.
Except
plats.
preliminary plats,
except
which
preliminary plats.
is your final plats and your minor plats.
That has to be
Right.
approved by council.
Because final plat is, a final plat, you have no changes from your preliminary plat
Which
that
has been
are,
approved
yeah, and you've
by
already
P&Z and
approved the
council. They've
preliminary
already gone through the
plat.
process.
You may have some minor changes, but those have gone through,
Right.
if it was a major change, it's come back through
It's
you
come back.
again already.
Right.
So this is minor plats and final plats that do not have major changes. Because they have to come back through you if they have major changes.
I'd rather have them all come through us.
If we want
I
to
don't-
talk
I don't
about
get
this
that.
with Eric.
I mean, I could see them approving preliminary plats, but.
Well,
No,
so
preliminary
I don't
plats are
think we've
different.
drafted the ordinance on this.
No.
So this is just for you to discuss, and if you want me to say that it's only minor plats and,
Right.
I mean, that's easy for
final.
me to do.
Yeah.
To put in that language.
The
minor
preliminary
plat
plats,
being 4 or less lots.
I'd rather have all the plots come through us still, because look at what
Yeah,
happened last
they still
time.
do.
Well,
go
they
through P&Z.
actually can.
Well, yeah,
they
but
do,
then
but
through us.
preliminary
They
plats
should.
go P&Z
But I
and
mean, not
council.
It's
to
just
have
keeping
them-
Eric from having to come to us on every little piece of property
Because
subdivision.
as we grow, you're gonna see a whole lot of that.
That's fine, because look at what happened last time. Something came to us that we didn't see until it was too late,
That was no minor.
you know? And there was an appetite that, didn't get discussed.
Well, you may want to table this until
Let's table it
Eric's
until Eric
here.
can explain the
To dis-
differences
to-
of what
He's not gonna intimidate me, but also take him on the knees.
He's not gonna intimidate me.
I vote that I like said we table this until the 20th.
Okay, so I've got Cindy with the first to table it until Eric's back on the 20th,
I see.
and William with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that is 4-0. Dave stepped out for just a second. Okay. we'll move on to number 8. Now we're back to discuss, consider, act upon authorizing staff to move forward, obtaining bids to engage contractual services. And this is for replacing an installation of lots of posts and signs. And so I believe that we have 2 bids. We're waiting on the 3rd. I don't want us to have to wait though and come back. So I asked if we could, well, I put this on here so that we could see if you guys could authorize a not to exceed 10,000 so that when those bids come in, we can choose and get going. And this is for, look, we have the equipment now. Not equipment, but, well, it is equipment. It's posts and it's signs. But we've got to
We
be
have
able
the
to.
materials.
We have materials, yes.
The laborers, so you want me to say?
Yeah, so go ahead and, hop up, Adam, in case they've got questions on.
Before we approve money, do we know what these signs look like? Because that doesn't look like anything like the sign I saw on the other street over there. with the water tower
Bad
on it.
example.
Yeah.
Well, some
So,
are different, and there's
in
some stop
October
signs
of
that are
2023, we
These have
approved the
been weathered
post,
when these
and the signs have been ordered.
It's,
We have
it's,
the
it's
signs.
Telspar sign, it's Telspar post, William.
Well, I say we, you guys weren't part of that council, but
Yes.
in October of
I
2023,
remember when
we read so he showed everybody, we approved the post, and we have them, they're out there.
Telspar.
We have posts.
Yeah, yes, we do have the post.
But
We
it's
just
200,
need authorized for the labor.
$245 to $275, depending on what to do for the contractors. It's the same contractor that
Does our
took the bid at the Woods, the low bidder at the Woods. And so they're willing to do it for $275 a pole.
Okay, so we're not talking about getting the sign, we're talking about installing them.
installing them.
It's mostly
the
installing,
labor.
yeah. Besides, they'll put the signs on.
Already ordered?
Where do you have
Yeah,
it?
There's still some street signs I need. Stop signs ordered.
Yeah.
No driving signs. Those I have ordered.
And in the previous administration's already picked the sign design, we've already got that figured out.
Those are the ones
All of
that's in
that
the
is-
bridges.
yes.
That's what they're all gonna look
Yes,
like.
and the posts.
We're on number 8 now, which is what I said I wanted
We
to
are on
ask.
number 8, yes, and you had more questions.
Because I drove around Sunday afternoon, and I mean, there's gotta be 4 different kind of signs.
Yeah.
None of them match when they exist. Most of the time, they don't exist. A lot of the corners I went to.
They've been gone for a long time.
And then today's issue about the truck signs and the truck routes, I think we need more than just truck routes. So Sunday afternoon, there was a fellow with this big Winnebago thing, and it wasn't a Winnebago, it was bigger than that, it was like 40 feet long. It was like 5 times the length of the width of the intersection he was trying to turn in.
Yeah.
He ended up in the bar ditch, and he almost took out our one and only straight stop sign. And what was he doing in there? Those streets are way too small to be bringing a vehicle like that in there. So we need some kind of, we need to put something on the agenda for an ordinance to control where vehicles go. Because these streets in town, right around here, are not sized for a Winnebago-sized vehicle. This thing
No, they're not.
was the size of a bus.
Yeah.
And there's no way he was ever gonna make that turn.
Do we have an ordinance today? I mean, Danny, I know you said that you have written a ticket on McConnell, and you took a picture of the truck with the no truck route sign.
Yes, sir.
Right there.
It's still on our Facebook.
And so we already have an ordinance that addresses no truck routes.
And
We just need to get-
and they're all over, apologize, and they're all over the school, so they surround it. You can't enter the Gunter Elementary School in any direction without breaking that ordinance, which is a no truck through passage. I did research and looked at the one in McConnell because we had a lot of when they were building the meadows.
Yeah.
We had a lot of truck traffic through there. There was a sign there that says no trucks. And after day 2 of the complaints, I went out there personally and wrote a ticket, took a picture of it, and it showed no trucks. We can control it from 289
Right.
entering to the east, but from the other side, from it's unincorporated entering to 289, we can't control that because it's unincorporated.
Right.
But we can control the enforcement from 289 heading eastbound. Yes, sir.
So the one on Cedar, I think. Cedar's the one that curves.
West Cedar. Yes, sir.
By the time a trucker sees that sign,
It's too late.
so I don't know why we put it there, Or
There's more signs going on. So the entire city, if you notice right now, is all flagged. So if you drive anywhere in the city right now, you're gonna see flags everywhere.
because those have to be at the entrance.
Well, that's the other thing is.
And
what
that's
was it?
actually what we're approving tonight, if you
Yeah.
do, that not to exceed 10,000 is to get him started, because all the locates have
It'll do
been
36 polls. Total.
And if you work with Chief on making sure that we're capturing all the no truck route signs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So even on Kerfoot,
Everything that's ours.
and Kerfoot would be
Yes.
because that's what I was gonna
Kerfoot,
say.
I believe we have just a very small
So
portion.
so we basically have Kerfoot all the way to the backside of the ag barn.
Yeah.
From that portion forward, it's eastbound is unincorporated in the county.
'Cause like I was gonna say, I remember sitting at football practice in the morning. I was shooting Danny some.
I'll work
text
with
messages.
the police chief.
Trucks going this way, trucks going that way, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is there construction going on back there? No, they were going that way. Cutting through the schools.
You know what, even if there is, they can come in from the east.
And that's the way the state law does state in the state of Texas. If there's an alternative route, they must go through the alternative route.
That's right.
If we have it posted, no trucks. Yes, sir.
And we did ask Chief to commit to putting a focus on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Really, really, truly enforcing where to get out fast, and we start enforcing these no
Yes,
truck
ma'am.
routes.
And I also had one of our officers go out and check, and I went out there and drove with him. It's no longer there, the one on McConnell. I'm not sure if it was, we've had a few accidents and wrecks there, but whether that it's the wind, but it's no longer there. So once it's there, we can enforce it. Yes, ma'am.
So what I'd like to do, and we talked about it, or maybe it was Captain Kramer, I can't remember now, we talked about getting a map, and obviously this is something we want to make sure we do track our inventory. Let's write down, because I don't know how Adam would know that McConnell ever existed in the first place if it's been gone
There is,
as long as he's been here. So if we have an inventory and we know those spots, we can go through and make sure.
so I can sit
That
down
we're
with Chief,
checking.
the iWorks program, you
Yeah.
can geolocate all the signs in the city.
Perfect.
Let's do
Yeah.
that, because we gotta stay, I mean, it's not a one and done.
And it pulls from our inventory as
We
well.
gotta stay on top of
So
it.
it pulls, every time a work order is generated to do it, it subtracts from the inventory.
And Chief, you're DOT certified, right?
I was DOT certified. I'm no longer, I was in Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations when I worked at DPS. I was dual certified through Highway Patrol and CDE. That's ran out and expired, but we still, under state law, even as regular officers, can enforce some truck violations. Yes, sir.
So I talked to a friend at TxDOT who is on the enforcement side. And we're gonna see an added presence of TxDOT as we start growing.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with truck drivers for 30 years. And if they're gonna take the road less
They're gonna find
traveled,
it.
they're gonna find it, a way to get around it, and it is imperative that we nip this in the bud before we start.
And that's what was occurring at the elementary. They were coming across the railroad tracks because they didn't want to. What happened is they would get to 121 and 289, they would get congested, they would cut the parking lot. We started hammering them on the park, cutting through the parking lot to make the right turn. Then they started, well, okay, we're not gonna do that. They'll go back and they were routing through the elementary. The teachers were blowing our phones up saying, hey, we've got too much truck traffic. So we started doing, and we put up the truck signs and we wore them out there. Now you hardly ever see anyone enter. Usually you get the late duck, the word gets out.
Is there a mechanism, Chief, and I don't know this, is there a mechanism if they're entering from a county road, so there's not a turnaround, and they're gonna hit the no truck on our side, and there's really not a turnaround, so they enter it? Is there a mechanism on the county side? Is that, would the county be able to put, if we paid for it, would the county be able to put some mechanism on there? Like, literally, when you shut a lane down, you shut it down the county side, if it's wherever the turnaround is.
Wherever ours is, I believe, where our jurisdictional authority starts, I think we can post something there. I worked with Ms. Dietrich's mother years ago, where FM 121, when you entered into our city limits, we didn't even have a speed limit sign. And I worked with Ms. Diane a number of hours and hours, and she was able, I think Ms. Dietrich helped,
locate the plat that originates through city council where our border started. It was out by DG Ranch, and I worked through TxDOT to get that. Now we have a speed limit sign and the city of Gunter sign that says you're entering in the city of Gunter and it's 55 miles per hour. Because we are having a hard time justifying enforcing that 55 mile per hour speed zone. Now, we had it on the west side, but when TxDOT came through and widened the curve, when they redid 121, that was one of the things they failed to put back into place.
Okay, I was just wondering if it made sense, if I work with the county, if I could get some notification from the county side if we've been not in our jurisdiction. I don't know if that's possible, because some of those, there may not be a turnaround till you hit our side. Like, in other words, you're already in there before there's a turnaround. I didn't know if that had been.
Now, we did that with the one on the railroad, where it's farther back before they keep from entering into the railroad site before the trucks. It's back farther on Elm Street.
Okay, and I could reach out to commissioners.
Well, that would probably be a county call.
We need to have it documented. We need to have it on a map because I can see us providing that to the BNSF.
Yeah.
Because they agreed, hey, that they're gonna help us, in that space.
Enforcing these truck routes.
And as they got drivers coming in, they're gonna say, all right, don't be cutting down McConnell, that's a no truck route.
Right.
Here's your map.
And on that note, we met with them Monday. Eric and I met with BNSF. It was a great first meeting. We kicked Courtney and Shanna out because we didn't need attorneys anymore. So we're moving forward, trying to figure out the two things we were doing was working on drainage and then traffic. They are committed to helping us with the truck routes and enforcing all of this. So look, I mean, they're working really hard to also help us correct some of these problems.
Well, and I can just see us as we have some of these bigger developments, we're gonna wanna make sure Merdad has a copy of it, 66 has a copy of it. You're gonna be ordering materials coming in and out.
Right.
So.
Back to the mayor's update, can I just say this real quick, because it's an update. Everybody's asking about these roads out in Bridges Phase 2. The inspections have all been done on the subgrade. We will see concrete batch plant trucks coming in to pour those streets. Everybody be ready for that in about a week.
So no batch plant on site.
It's not on site. You're gonna see about 600 trucks coming through into the bridges, so we're gonna have to be patient a little while. So that's the update there.
I have an update.
I meant to say that earlier.
Now that you brought that up.
Yeah.
So the house on Cedar and 7th Street that everybody's complaining about, the owner actually is a friend of mine. The owner has filed for a demolition permit, and they're working on that right now with the city. The demolition company is all lined up, ready to take it down.
That's good. We talked about that last time too.
And we don't have to pay for that, right?
No,
Okay.
we're not paying it. We don't have, no. They did it on their own.
Okay.
All right, shoes back on the
Okay,
trailer.
so
We're gonna give
are we
Adam
going
10
to be
grand.
able to authorize Adam to begin a not to exceed $10,000 for him to start getting the contractors out there to put in his post and street signs?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Wade with the first,
Second.
David
Can we get a
second.
weekly update on how this is going?
Yep. That's why I was trying to talk to the contractor on my phone. I was watching something.
So Wade with the first, Dave with the second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, just before we move on,
I didn't hear you, so that's why I was looking.
because I want to get on my agenda item before I vote.
Okay.
So you just have to wait on it. I want
Okay.
to make sure we get on the agenda for next week. We're going to talk about the problem with the turnaround, the axles, because it's not matter, it doesn't matter if it's a truck or a Winnebago, it's the same problem. The axles, the weight, the length, and the turnaround problem. We need to get that on the agenda.
Okay.
Because we don't want anybody, Winnebagos or commercial trucks, I don't really care whether it's commercial or private, they don't need to be on those
You
streets.
can do either weight or length, I believe.
Weight is under 26,000 because it is possible for me to have my truck and a trailer at 28, which requires CDL, and it's a pickup truck.
Okay, so, because we're not gonna discuss it, but I will put that on,
Let's get it on the
so that
agenda.
you can bring that to the table
Okay.
to talk about.
Now I'll vote yes.
Okay, so, that was unanimous then to approve to authorize the 10,000, not to exceed 10,000. So let's move to number 9. Discuss, consider, and act upon consent to creation of political subdivision in the ETJ, generally known as Greenbrier Hills Municipal Utility District. Okay, so you should have had this information in your packet. This is a petition that this MUD is, obviously they have to come to us first. We get notification that they are wanting to create the MUD. Obviously, you know, it hasn't been our position to say yes to that in the past, because we want people to come in and do business with us, annex in and have services and work together, have a development agreement. They did, I don't believe they came to us first. They have petitioned to create the MUD. Now we have a window of, Courtney, is it 120 days to?
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
To contest it with, because TCEQ does this now. They're the ones who approve this. You read through the agreement, there's a lot of errors in it. For example, they say that this is necessary and that we're urban. Well, we're clearly not in an urban environment. I mean, you don't, it's not necessary to have water for people who don't exist yet. So there's a lot of, you know, this is typical of a developer wanting to create a MUD.
It's the perversion of the MUD statute.
It's the perversion of the MUD, to be honest. So, do y'all know where this is? This is, I printed this out this week. It's not, I mean, last week, whoops. It's not, just hide that. It's not the best printout, but if you are looking at, okay, Preston Road's going this way. If you were to come up 121, the Bridges is over here. I should have given that to y'all, see that?
North on your.
Preston, and then if you're, yeah, so if the Bridges is here and Preston Road's here, it's right over here. It's these two tracks. So.
Okay, but also in this packet, they have a petition for release from the ETJ.
Yes, so they've already done that. They've already put that in, and now they've applied for the MUD.
So we've already, like,
We didn't
no
approve them to
action.
get out of the ETJ. No, it's just the
It's
whole
just in
law
there.
thing, 2038 petitions now, that it happens by default, right? So kind of while we're bringing this in, and Eric was gonna explain it too, I would like for us, now I'm gonna do it as a individual, but I think it would be good for us to protest this to TCEQ until these MUDs have made arrangements with us for services. Because what happens, they go in, they start building, and then they come to us later and they want to do a deal for police, fire, and EMS. Well, that's not really fair, because you need to do that up front, and I want TCQ to know they didn't come to us
They want to have
first.
their cake and eat it too.
Yes, so when the average citizen is paying about $850 per household for those services, according to our budget that we have in place, when they say, hey, we'll pay you $20, $30 a household a month, $240 to $300 a year, why are we subsidizing their MUD? That's not okay with me. So I brought this to just kind of see if you guys we're all on the same page to kind of contest this as a city rather than just me doing it as an individual. And then I guess, Courtney, we're running out of time actually on this one.
Yeah, actually, Mayor, it's 90 days, not 120. And so we're about 3 days out.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Protesting what?
Okay.
So I move
The
that we
creation
deny
of
it.
the MUD.
The creation of the MUD.
I move that we deny it.
So
I'm sick.
that's, we're kind of developing our policy where we want to go with this. Are we all on the same
I
page?
move that we do anything possible to thwart, delay,
Okay.
intervene, get in the way of,
Right.
just these kinds of things, especially when they're right out there in our ETJ and they get out and they
Yeah.
want to build anyway. And it's just a
And
big,
then create more
it's just a big
congestion, and they have no
middle finger to the
services.
city.
Yeah, no plan for services, which means,
And they do it on purpose because they don't want city standards.
because they
to
don't
build
want
to.
the city standards, yes. So,
Is there caps on service fees? Or is it whatever the city decides?
it's, well, they have to have a plan to provide services.
Right.
That's gonna be that's what I'm contesting it. I wanna contest it upon, is the fact that they have not come to us
But
to negotiate that.
Who determines what, like you said, $20 household? Who says it has, I mean, let's make it $2,000.
Yeah, we determine it.
we determine it because we would have to enter into an interlocal agreement with that MUD district. And then they would charge the district taxpayers, and then they would pay us. The problem is in the past, we have been offered $20 a household, which is about $240 a year. That doesn't cover services because all of us are paying on average.
And this is an area that petitioned to be removed from the ETJ.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
So,
They were going to be out, now they want out.
and so they filed their petition to be
And then
out,
they created the MUD.
and now they're creating a MUD.
But they have no services.
They have
They
not
have no
come to us for
services.
services.
So we don't have to service it.
Is this a residential deal?
We can
I'm
say that,
assuming.
but our
That's
fire
the tough
department's
part.
gonna go out when that call comes in. Our
Yeah.
police department's gonna go out when that call comes in. So that's why I want to make that,
So
Claim.
why couldn't we set it up where if we do get a call, we are sending a bill, just like if we get an ambulance that shows up to your mother's house.
because a lot of it ends up being mutual
Well, it's
aid.
part of
Well,
They
yeah,
don't
there's
have
gonna
to-
be, they'll be
Well-
part of somebody's emergency services district, and
Right.
we'll have to.
We'll end up doing it and not get paid for
I
it.
know.
Okay, I move that we protest it.
So, I mean.
I
we're
think you've
basically
already
just-
moved that,
Yeah.
and William
Yeah.
has
So
seconded it.
Okay, so Cindy with the first, William with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Okay, so let's move on to number 10, discuss consider act upon accepting letter of resignation from Christopher Atkinson as president of the EDC and MDD because we moved them over, so we have to accept for both of those.
Make a motion that we accept it.
Second.
Okay, so Dave with the first, Cindy with the second, all in
There's actually-
favor?
There's
There's
two parts to this.
So we got that done, but we also need to appoint
Okay.
to that MDD board. We probably should have separated these in case we
We
go,
just
I don't
did.
want to know.
Okay, so who first? I'm
So-
sorry.
Remember, we did put one council member on the MDD, correct?
Who did we put on?
Actually, we didn't, we just
We
brought
didn't,
over
we talked
7
about
members.
Yeah, we just
didn't-
brought over and we were gonna
Which
appoint
could
at
be-
a further meeting.
Yes, which could be anybody who lives in the city, the ETJ, a staff, or an officer of the city.
I make a motion that we put Cindy on.
I second.
Man, that was the shortest
Sounds
yellow
like you're
bus.
it. Dave with a first?
Okay, wait a minute. We've got a motion on the table that we haven't voted on to accept the resignation
Yeah.
of Christopher
We just
Atkinson.
did.
You voted
just
on
did.
that?
Yes.
Okay, so that,
We did.
Cindy first
you
did,
and I both missed that?
and
No,
someone
I
else
finished
Let's vote
it
again.
because Dieter was gonna go, wait on a minute, and I was
Yeah.
like, we were gonna do
It was
this in
Cindy
two parts.
first,
So we
Dave
finished
second
it.
on Atkinson.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one was
It was
approved.
Dave and Cindy.
And then
Or
all in
Cindy
favor
Dave.
was
Cindy Day.
Cindy did.
Okay,
everybody.
okay, now we've got a
Now, we're
motion
on the
to
appointment.
appoint Cindy by
Dave
Wade.
first did, I
First.
seconded it.
Wait
Okay,
a second.
Dave and Wade.
What?
What are we trying to accomplish by putting a council member on the MD?
Coordination.
Collaboration and coordination,
Collaboration.
so that we've got information that's flowing both directions. She'll have an idea how we feel, they'll have an idea, be able to answer maybe some of their questions.
Doesn't mean she's an officer.
Yeah.
Just, she's on the.
Well,
You actually
Well,
could be.
the board appoints its
The
own
board
officer.
appoints their
Yes.
own officer, so she could.
She could, but
Yeah.
we're not doing
Yeah, no, we're not doing it. We're just putting one person as just a liaison to kind of make collaboration a little bit easier.
She needs to be picked on by another group.
yeah.
All right, so just
So-
for clarity's sake, old council had somebody on EDC,
it. Mm-hmm.
they had to get off.
Yeah.
That was
But
just
it was
easy.
because they were an officer.
They were a treasurer.
Two officers.
Treasurer.
If they wanted to just be on the EDC and not in an officer function, they could have done that and been on city council?
Well, not at the time it was being done.
Not,
But we went back and removed all those restrictions and put it back to the state
right,
allowances back when, just a few months ago.
Oh, and the state says that
This-
a council member can be an officer.
Or a
Yes,
city
right.
Up to
employee.
four, up to
up,
four.
up to 4.
So now on the MDD, we had decided and talked about putting one on. Y'all not remember
It
that?
ain't me.
We talked about one
We-
council member and
We
one.
talked about one,
One
One
employee.
staff.
or
and
staff.
that was just for the communication, to serve communication a little bit better. And then now Dave just motioned to appoint Cindy, and
I
Wade
seconded it.
seconded that. Did we answer all the questions, or you good, William?
Is it gonna be a voting position?
Yes.
Well, everybody on the board, but I mean, she's not like a
Did we
quorum.
get the bylaws finished where the city council member can't be an officer? Is that in the bylaws
No.
for the MDD?
No.
It's not.
No, I gave the bylaws that
Like
I
the state,
provided before, and I don't,
We haven't
I
amended
don't wanna
anything.
agree to anything that looks like the old council's mechanisms, and I certainly don't want the opportunity for anybody on this body to end up being an officer.
Okay, let me say something. Just because it was abused in the past doesn't mean it's gonna be abused in the future.
I agree.
It can happen,
with
it
that.
will happen, that's Murphy's Law.
Do we still have control though if we wanted to take her out of?
you can
This
always remove
council
somebody
can
from the
remove-
board.
For any
Can
reason,
we change the bylaws?
at any time.
Yeah, you can amend the
You can
bylaws.
amend the bylaws,
So.
but not tonight, because that's
It's
not.
not on the
I wanna put
agenda.
that on the agenda, then we need to look at those, because the bylaws, we agreed we were gonna get them again anyway.
Exactly, we said we
They
could
were in place.
possibly come back, yes.
William, but if you'll remember, like, let's say we didn't have an MPD. We removed the restraint on an EDC that a city council person could not be there.
We did, we went back to the state.
That was a rule that the people that broke them, that's what they put in place.
They actually,
Yeah.
break it,
Hey, we're not gonna let anybody be on the EDC, but by the way, I'm gonna be on the EDC.
and be an
So we
officer,
got rid of that.
2 officers.
I'm gonna resign and then make a motion.
Yeah.
I like that. So
This is
I will
in
put
line,
that on
I
the
think,
agenda
with what
to
the
discuss the
state
bylaws,
requires.
possibly make some amendments to the bylaws for the next, will you write that down too? Okay, so we'll put that on the next one, we'll talk about it. But
It's the chair.
we're ready to vote. Again, Dave with the first to appoint Cindy, Wade with the second to appoint Cindy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that passes and carries.
Well, should I vote?
Yeah, you can vote. That's
Okay,
not a
fine.
conflict.
Unless,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it's not a conflict, and you had your moment to
My best
speak up and
friend.
say no, so,
Yeah,
Too
just,
late.
as long as you don't resign first.
I won't vote.
okay, so,
Not yet.
Now we're at council.
Number 11.
executive
Oh, we
session.
already did that one. So now we're in council business executive session. Good thing you see what
What,
we
Courtney?
did tonight.
I don't know,
No, William did not vote, he said.
No, I did not vote.
so you're abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, so 4-0, the motion carries with William not voting.
Yep.
Okay, abstaining. Number 11, we've already done. We are moving to council business executive session. Under 551.071, consultation with our attorney on BNSF litigation, and then 551.074 under employee and department reviews at 6:54. Okay.
Yeah, we have to then vote for officers. Because the officers aren't transferring